the vibes. These the vibes. You know, since, you know, I'm from Chicago. Since, you know, I was kind of raised in Indiana, though. Fort Wayne, Indiana. From Chicago till like high school, until early elementary. Then moved to Indiana. Then came back. Chicago for college. And some of my younger adult life, as they say. But I done moved around a lot, man, from Oregon, Florida. I always find myself by some water. From Oregon coast, it was beautiful out there. And a lot of times, y'all, like look at this. It's like some movie shit to me. It's like some movie shit to me. You know what I'm saying? In the background, it's like some straight movie shit. And I just seen that I wanted to be in different places and different situations. And I ain't gonna lie, the more that I move around, and you see, it feels like a lot of space. It feels like a lot of space. That's the best way to put it. Like I got space to grow, space to be me. Just speaking from I'm speaking from a young man's perspective, who basically from the hood of America at this point. Like, young man perspective from the hood of America, man. When I was young, I dreamed of doing some of the greatest things in the world, you know what I'm saying? I would look up to any story of any great people that I heard of, any of our ancestors, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. You know, if I heard of Jesus, you know, I was looking at his greatness, King Solomon, just any beings. Anytime I encountered them, you know, got some hard work. I got the skill of hard work from my father and my mother, instilling it, just hard work. And then that evolved to smart work, you know, as well. But I'm saying from a young man perspective, I spent a lot of time in the hood feeling trapped. And not even knowing I felt trapped, but just feeling trapped. Feeling like there's nowhere to go. Feeling like I can't get up out the jams. Because a lot of times at the end of the day, it's like the only solution that I was allowed to acknowledge for myself, based upon my understanding, was money. Wow. But yeah, man, just turn around seeing this water here, this ocean out. I've been in Miami. That beach is cool, and that ocean off of there is cool. It's cool, but it ain't like this. It ain't like this vibe I'm feeling in Brazil. It's like more wide open. The water is so clear. And it's just a different vibe. It's just a different vibe. Boy. It's just a different vibe. Like, you feel me? It's just a different vibe out here. And I usually don't even be, you know, taking pictures, photos, and none of this and shit. But now at this point, look at the fam there chilling. Look at the fam just chilling. With the youth in them. But yeah, it's beautiful. But as I'm saying, man, like, this is a habit. Like, how I get here, what I'm doing right now, it's the same stuff I would do even in America. How did I get to this point? I mean, I remember having to hustle and hustling in the streets and hustling, selling crack. Literally, I sold crack. You feel me? One of my first hustles, it was really weed. Okay, I'm in the sand. Gotta take these boys off at these yeah. But I was in America, in the hoods, hustling and shit, trying to make some money. It seemed like the solutions was money. At some point, I wasn't even looking for solutions. I was just going with the flow of life. You know, just going with the flow of life and what life brings you. So I know how that is. Then you get caught up in realizing you want to do better. It's like, how? And it's a lie. It's a lie. It's like, how do you go somewhere you've never been? How do you become somebody you don't, you know? You feel me? And people not reinforcing it. People not telling you great all around. And it's like support systems are not there. It's like fighting against everybody. It's a system a wicked system. I'm gonna tell you, it's only through the grace of the Most High that's within me, the Most High within me, my unique emanation of the Most High of all, and staying reflecting on that type of stuff and being led by what I felt inside that led me to places like this and all places all over the world, India and stuff. And I did this stuff, most of the stuff without a lot of money at all. Most of all of this was without a lot of money at all. It ain't about that. It's more so about how could I get up out them jams. When I was in them situations in the hoods and say family going through a bunch of shit and I feeling like I can't provide like I want to, or you know, shit just going crazy. You got the police, you got drama, you got fights, you got death, you got people shooting and not having a lot of money, and then you got people having money, and sometimes you run into it and it's just craziness, a bunch of craziness. You feel me? But I just started to escape, literally. I started, and I remember, you know, like in Chicago, and since I was young, I just go somewhere by myself, just get away. You feel me? Go to different sides of the city. Ride the bike a long time. A lot of times I'll ride a bike all over the city, or if I ain't have a bike, just walk, go to different places, a whole different side of the city. You see what I'm saying? Just go. You feel me? I know it's a lot that you can run into all over this world. There's a lot of drama you can run into. You feel me? There's a lot of reasons not to go down some roads. I done been down some roads. I mean, if you know who you are, that's what you just got to know who you are, and read energy and be energy. You feel me? Read energy and be energy. But you know, I started just walking and going to different places and being up in the library, just getting away from the drama by any means necessary. You feel me? And sometimes, a lot of times, it was without a lot of money at all, without no money. A lot of times, you feel me? I ain't had no money. A lot of times, most of my life, I ain't have $20. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is real. Of this lifetime, but most of my true life, eternally, I'm realizing we wealthy beyond means. Even in this lifestyle, when I thought I only had 20, there was a lot of inheritance that's for me that I didn't know how to claim, and I didn't know it was for me. And I wasn't perceiving that wealth was the value that I already have inherently. I knew I was something great. I knew it could make anything happen, you know, because those were principles that was given to me, and that's something too. You know, you know, it ain't about recommending. It's like what I did, what I do. How did I make sure I get up out them jams? Well, the Most High and a lot of blessings, and a lot of times just literally. And it may be kind of fucked up too, but you know, I'd have been locked up a couple times, not even too long, but it didn't take too long for me to realize this ain't where I need to be. And then as I got older, and I remember getting locked up with the last time, man, that shit, I end up cutting my hair when I get out, damn near pulling my hair out and shit, like on some real shit, because that shit really was not for me. When I was younger, I could go through that shit like, man, it's nothing. You feel me? It is what it is. You know, but as I got older, man, that's not for me. Oh, slavery shit, I'm not no animal. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not no animal. And I realized I was not no animal, and I realized people, before even knowing this type of knowledge, I sensed it, man. People acting real animalistic. And that wouldn't be my words, but it's just like, man, motherfuckers ain't talking about linking up, ain't really linking up, ain't utilizing these laws of love and peace and prosperity, even good business principles and community development. These were ideas and unity and security. It's like everything that's considered a sustainable force for the community was always a dream. Even the things like the nice cars, cool house, being clean, is like even basic common necessities. Where I'm from, where I was from in this world, not necessarily where I'm from eternally. Yeah, when placed into this vessel at a young age, the environment that was mentally manifested around us was an environment. Initially, when I was super young in Chicago, was just love and peace. I remember like the late 80s. You feel me? I was born in 85, so like the late 80s, early 90s was love, vibes. Even though there was a lot of drama in the streets and all that, it was a different type of vibe. You feel me? The children had a child's place. Adults had adults' place. You feel me? It was very clear boundaries of what a child is, what an adult is. And even though it was what it was, and I was in more of like one of the lower class or families, it didn't feel that way because it was a lot of love. And now I'm noticing through a lot of situations, you know, the family just adjusted. The family structure's adjusted. As I'm learning now, there's a lot of society, sociology that got to do with that. It's a lot that got to do with that. You feel me? It's a lot outside of just the individual person can power that got to do with what occurred. Because individuals, that's even a concept that is foreign to my truth. Yeah, let me just keep focus on when I was young, man. Like just getting out, going to the library, reading books. That was a big deal. You know, finding some stuff that interests me. You feel me? Staying connected to animals, y'all. Staying connected to birds. You feel me? I found like people was pretty flaky. People who started being pretty flaky in my life, it seemed, because, you know, they whole principle of who they are and what they got to do to survive, I started to learn and adopt as well. Yeah, you know, just to stay sane, my idea of what sanity is, I stay connected to some animals even when I was young, you know, whistling to the birds or seeing the squirrels. I'm just giving you some shit that really kept me connected, kept me going, kept me moving. You feel me? Like in my mind, literally perceiving that I am the greatest of whoever I am and just being free in my mind. You know, and I used to always tell myself, I'm not gonna let my weakness slow down my greatness. Yeah, I know I got some weaknesses in some areas, and I know some people may put a lot of light on that. I myself might put a lot of light on that, on the weaknesses or the things that, you know, I wish I had or wish I was. Yet I would always tell myself, you know, regardless of what the clear weaknesses are, I'm not gonna let that override my strengths from being real. So the strengths I'm still gonna sharpen my sword, still gonna manifest to the greatest degree of manifestation that I have at the moment of manifestation. You know, in accordance to its unity with the divine waveforms of how all this is operating. Basically staying one with nature as best as possible, going with the flow of nature, not the flow of the world. Knowing that I was in the world but not of the world. I can tell you there are some initial concepts that's throughout all religions, you feel me? All religions had to put them in their books because that was in order to organize people. Yet the core concepts of what life is for us can be found throughout many different places. But I realized that anything I put my mind to, I could do. And even though situations was looking flaky, I allowed myself to just believe in myself regardless. And sometimes I had to believe because there was no evidence of knowing. I'm developing into something. And I'm happy and appreciative for the idea of faith as well. Even though I understand now the ancient ways of looking at life and how words change. But I'm talking as a young man, you feel me? And even now, a lot of times, faith, the definition being the evidence of things unseen and the substance of something hoped for. I found a lot of times in my life I needed that. I needed some evidence for something unseen, and I needed some substance of some stuff I was hoping for. Because in a lot of times in my situation in my life as a young man, you know, I had to choose to escape situations. Even in the hoods and in Chicago's a lot of times, you know, barely making it. I remember, you know, not even wanting to walk down the streets around motherfuckers. Fuck around and get popped, you feel me? Some situations. I done got shot at in situations. You know, so it's like I ended up doing a lot of different shit. Getting a bike, riding in the middle of the street, going where I'm going. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's how I survived doing a lot of different type of shit. I'm gonna get a bike, I'm riding in the middle of the street, getting where I go. I ain't even walking on the streets with these motherfuckers, bro. I ain't even trying to have a situation where a motherfucker can say, hey, Joe, where up? Hey, Joe, where you from? Or none of that shit. None of that. No more. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times I escaped to the lake, just wherever peace was. And that became a lifestyle. Just searching for peace, pockets of peace everywhere. Having to get away from the family, and that was a lot of the drama too, you feel me, as a young person, you know, getting away from the family. Even though we need family, we need support. A lot of times if the family was in flux, or there's arguments, or the energies is off, man, just had to get away a lot of times. And a lot of times for survival, you know, I done been homeless a lot of times, but I'm gonna tell you, in America, in a lot of places, in order to like play it smooth, you know, I always research and learning some skills, you feel me? Always realize that money is an effect of the value that I provide to people that's appreciated and willing to compensate me for it. Some people appreciate it and they don't have negotiable instruments or United States dollars or a specific form of currency to give you. And I would still provide value a lot of times. I provided overvalue. You know, it was a moment where it was all about the love. You know, and it's getting back to that. And then it was a situation where I realized, okay, I need money. I got to sustain myself. So now I got to get paid for these skills. And then I ain't going to lie, that turned me down some good and some bad paths. Because sometimes I perceived I had to do some manipulation. And that's not necessarily bad yet. I done hit some licks. Did some shit that I'm not necessarily proud of. All in the midst of searching for peace. But I'm just saying this to young men. So like a survival tactic I did as well was look for offices instead of apartments because shit was cheaper. It was cheaper to find an office. This is a survival tactic. You feel me? I had my mama one day drop me off in a different city. I told her I had a job, told her everything was cool, but I didn't have a job there. Shit was not cool there. But it was a different city and it was more peaceful and it was closer to the type of lifestyle that I wanted. And I perceive that me being me, just me being in that environment, I will work the rest out. I got an ID, shit, a couple bucks, not much. I ended up running to a couple people, getting a couch to sleep on, but that wasn't first. Initially, I was sleeping like in the park and shit, but I was peacefuler. I remember sleeping off the streams in Oregon. But I was alive. I have partners that ain't alive no more. So shit, I was looking at life like, shit, I'm alive. You feel me? And if I'm alive, I might as well, and how I looked at it is like, I might as well lock myself up in serene, simple situations where my life could be preserved and I could maintain a chance to develop myself into being who I need to be for myself and for others in this dimension of this reality. You feel what I'm saying? Because this shit is kind of wicked, kind of strange, kind of crazy, kind of wild. But at the same time, I saw a lot of beautiful things. It's kind of beautiful. It's kind of lovely. It's a lot of greatness. It's a lot of capabilities, a lot of potential. It's a lot of love. Because again, it's like two worlds. It's the real world and then it's the artificial world based upon all these false concepts when people perceive them, how they start to act. And it's all colliding and melding. And at this point, it's all gone. It's coming into a whole new world. A new world order is upon us where we can now go through what we went through. We can look at this shit like, okay, what we gonna do now? Okay, what I'm gonna do now? And then sometimes the answer ain't there. But peace is something that is always there if you want it to be there. And that is something I realized. I realized that peace is the power. Your ability to find peace in your situation and then to project yourself into a better situation. And you'll realize you in that situation one day. Like so many years and so many times, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know how I'm going to get to Brazil. It wasn't even like something that I was like, okay, I need to go to Brazil. But it was something in my dreams, in my subconscious, and in my true perspective of life. Something was like, man, I definitely would love to be in Brazil. But what I'm saying is the steps in between where you at and where you going, you don't have to know. You don't have to know. You know, how things unfold, that's more the unseen world. This 1% is what we see, what we feel. And that's like 1% of this entire world. You got 99 other percent. And that's where you get to work your magic. You get to work your magic, literally. You get to work your faith. You get to work your beliefs. You get to work your knowledge. You know, you get to work your knowing. You get to work your elements of imagination. And you get to work that with all the universe as one. And that world, that 99% world where all things are connected and flowing through each other as waveforms and frequencies, that encompasses and overshadows all of this. This is the shadow, yet that reality I don't know if I want to say it's the cause of this reality. But I say it is more of a reality than this reality. And this reality is literally like a reflection. It's a reflection of that reality. Like a compression, condensed energy. And if we look at it, and we can realize then that it is our thoughts, our projections, our collective ideas, what we perceive of ourselves. How you look at yourself, young man, look at yourself great. That's the key. How you look at yourself, young queen, young woman, look at yourself great. And now as we realize we don't want to be trapped up in these matrices or these systems of ideas that other people have for us, and even some ideas that we have for ourselves, now we get to accept new ideas where we one with the 99%, the all things that's unseen, that's real, the vibes. You one with the vibes, you one with the frequencies, you one with the waves. You feel me? And knowing that, that's money in the bank. That's money in the bank. That is money in the bank. That's been my money in the bank for sure. Knowing that we really won with all of this, and knowing that I'm not the body. I'm not the body. I'm all things I experience, anything and all things I can perceive. And in this body, I just get to be a unique emanation of the all things. Knowing that concepts have been put over us for control. So yeah, I say just be true to yourself and define yourself the way that you perceive the Most High defines you. Define yourself that way. Take deep breaths. Don't take this shit too seriously. But definitely stay vigilant. I've stayed vigilant knowing that the goal and the mission is vast, is amazing. It's having the imagination to accept the responsibility for all issues that you perceive as an issue in the reality that you experience. Regardless of whether you don't have to seek control of it, but just accepting responsibility and knowing that you capable of making a wave in this world that could literally turn into the tsunami necessary to put out fires or create fires in situation where that's needed. So yeah, at the end of the day, as a young man, I say, and as a young woman out here, love got me through a lot of things. Loving yourself. I took a long time to start loving myself. It took me a long time to start loving myself. And even though I spent early in my life motivating myself, inspiring myself, believing in myself, but loving myself, it took me a long time to start loving myself. So I just say start loving yourself. Even though you probably hear that so much, but what does that mean? Treat yourself how you want to be treated. Start thinking about how you treating yourself, how you making decisions. Is that something good for you? Why are you making a decision that doesn't help you, make you feel good? Saying yes when you want to say no, to yourself. Saying no when you want to say yes, when the Most High is telling you something. Like looking at these things and like, okay, let me be honest with myself. Am I loving myself? Am I doing what I know I could do to perceive that I am who I need to be or who I really am, and allowing myself the space, the grace, not being too hard on myself. I've been hard on myself for so long, accepting so many responsibilities, perceiving that I could and am the one to make situations different. But I say learn to love yourself, because even if you are the one that you know you are, you're going to need a lot of that good energy. And that good energy is going to come from within, from the Most High, from the sun. The sun's vibing and lit right now in the universe. It's going to come from the sun, from your connection with the universe, with nature, and your connection with the heavens, earth, your fortification, your groundingness, getting grounded. You know, staying grounded as much as possible. And you may not be where I'm at, but you might be in some better place, or a place where you can be there in your mind, or you can find a place. You can find you some water. You can find you a peace. I used to go to the stream, go to the library, behind the libraries, wherever a little bit of peace, find a little ducked off location, and take a chill pill. You know what I'm saying? Because all these programs in life, a lot of times, they don't really take your soul and your spirit into consideration. And you have to take your soul and your spirit into consideration. You have to take yourself into consideration. And the more you do that, whether you fail or succeed in your eyes, you always winning. And you always perfect in the Most High's eyes. So adopting that perspective wouldn't be too bad. Regardless of the strengths, the weaknesses, the need to adjust, or the perceived need to adjust. The goods or the bads, the uglies or whatnot. Because we're not the bodies. We're not the decision we make either. We're nothing that we sense. And neither is the Most High. Any senses, anything sensed is temporary. We're nothing temporary. We are something immortal. And that may seem to be a conundrum, because some people perceive we are the body, but we are not the body. The body actually is not a body. And when you really break it down, we use these words, vessels and all of that. Yet all of these things, these are condensed energy and waveforms seeming to be what we observe. And in order for them to seem to be what we observe, we would have had to think it first. Or it would have had to been programmed into the world of thought first, before here. So if it has to be programmed into the world of thought before here, is it truly what it seems to be? Or does it just seem to be something for the sake of seeming to be that? For the sake of playing that role? All of these things we can sense seems to be something. You know, once I stopped associating my identity with the body. We can play all these identity games. Yes, you can play all these identity games. And I feel them. Every game has a value. The race game, the nation game, the tribe game, the family game, the sovereign game, the species game, the kingdom game, the Game of Thrones, the love game, the peace game, the self-sustainability game. We can play all those games. We can play the math game, the science game, the psychology game, the physics game. We start looking at geometry and mathematical particles and atoms and nucleuses and protons, and start to look at things from an atomic level, hydrogen level. And we start seeing the synchronicity between all things, a divine connection, a divine source. That's the substance. That's the source of all things. And this becomes an amazing holographic reality that we are watching unfold and experiencing and witnessing and measuring and observing. And I'm saying right now that your words and your thoughts program this reality, because this reality is a reflection of what you wish, what we collectively program, what we collectively have faith in, what we collectively believe. And who is we? We is all of the elements that you perceive and that you don't perceive. As long as it's observed by something, it is what it is. And what does that all mean? Well, it means something different to everybody. That's the great game of life. It means something different. It averages out to being something different to everybody. Because means average. So it averages out to being something different for everybody. And you got the freedom to decide what all this means to you. And that's an amazing thing. You got the freedom to make up your mind in this grand design of what does it all mean to you? What is all of this, these waves, these elements, the sun, the effect that it has on us, the effect that the planets have on us, your spiritual aspect, your energy flow, because it's not just animalistic, and your organs, yeah, and the relationships and society and psychology. What is all of this average out to being for you according to your mission? Because all things are what they are, yet they mean something different to you according to your mission, and according to how much you have accepted your mission in this life, in this game of life. Life either as you choose to know it, or life as they choose to know it and enforce it upon you. So yeah, I say keep it simple. I survived a lot. I stand by myself to myself, and then I thrived a lot by acknowledging my connectivity to all things. So survive by staying to the self, learning the self, healthy isolation, so that when I'm amongst people, I can be my most refined self and ward off attacks more easily. So I guess for you that'll just mean staying low key, do your thing. Be patient with yourself. Take it slow. Don't rush, because you rushing in a world when what we're gonna get at the end is over. This experience, this trial, this one is over. Go to the next realm, go to the next reality, the next dimension, because energy never dies. Energy never dies. It transmutes, transforms. That's the evidence that we're all immortal. This poor paradigm that we've experienced, that we don't like, that we've been fighting collectively, that is the past paradigm. That paradigm was based upon the fear of death, people perceiving that they could even die, people perceiving that they are individuals disconnected from their larger groups. And if you can disconnect you from your closest family, it's easy to disconnect you from the human family, and then it's easy to relabel what the human family is. Then it's easy to disconnect you from the cosmic family, and it's easy to disconnect you from the heavenly host and the heavenly family. It's easy to make you perceive that all of these things are external from you, and then it becomes easy to make you perceive that these things are not you. Then it becomes easy to make you perceive that you are an animal. And you don't have to perceive that you're an animal separated from all things. You could know that you are one with all things, a unique emanation of the Most High. Here to experience this unique realm and experience itself.